There are a lot of different ways you can retire in your 50s with a $2,700 a month pension. Let's get into it. First, why 50s? Well, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, and a lot of people do not want to wait until they get into their 60s in order to start drawing a pension. In fact, there are some people that do not see themselves retiring at all. I ran a poll recently, and 17% of people selected that they would never retire. Now, when I talk about retirement, I'm not talking about sitting around in your living room or in your house all day doing nothing, withering away. As we both know, you hear stories of people that put in 30, 35, 40 years at their job, and when they finally retire, they have 12 or 18 months and then suddenly they just pass away. So you have to stay active. What I am talking about when I say retirement, I'm talking about freedom. True freedom, where you're not forced to report to someone or be at a certain location. All the time in the day is yours to decide what you want to do. Okay, so the first way is you start working for the government at 27 years old and retire at 57 years old. You work 30 years. You start as a GS6, retire as a GS12. Now, it doesn't matter what state you do this work in. You can do it in Arkansas, you can do it in Ohio. What does matter is your last 3 years. So in order to maximize your high 3, which is calculated in your pension, you want to move to a high-cost locality area. So in Washington, D.C., they have a 31 or 32% increase of your salary because of the locality. All right, so let's do some calculations. A GS12 Step 7 is $107,000 a year times 30 times 1% equals $32,100 a year, which is about $2,700 a month. Okay, the next way is you can start working for the government at 33 years old and retire at 58 years old. You work 25 years, start at a GS9 and retire at GS14. Okay, so let's do the calculation. A GS14 Step 7 is $151,000 times 25 years times 1% equals $37,750 a year. Minus 20% is about $2,500 a month. The reason we had to minus 20% in that calculation is because we did not work 30 years and we were under 60 years old. There's a rule that causes your pension to be reduced by 5% a year for each year you're under 62, unless you have 20 years of service and your benefit starts at 60 years old or later. The next way is if you start working at 37 years old and retire at 59 years old. You work 22 years, start at GS11 and retire at GS15. Okay, so let's do the calculation. A GS15 Step 5 is $176,000 times 22 years times 1% is $38,720. Minus 15%, and it's about $2,800 a month. So as we can see, there are a lot of possibilities for retiring with a pension in your 50s so that you can finally have your freedom. Since all of these previous scenarios were retiring before the age of 62, we use the 1% multiplier. If you wait until you're 62, you would use the 1.1% multiplier. And that is essentially a 10% increase in your retirement if you're willing to wait that long. Depending on your financial situation, it might be better to actually wait until you are 62. Also, the salary amount that I used is the average of your high 3. So you could do this calculation if you want. It's basically high 3 salary times years of service times the multiplier. That will be your annual pension amount. And keep in mind that this is the gross amount. It is not net, so you still have to consider state and federal taxes coming out of this pension. Okay, so I have a bonus example for you. Let's get rid of the 50s. Let's do an example where you actually retire in your 40s. In this example, you start working at 20 years old and retire at 45 years old. So you work 25 years. You start off as a GS6 and retire at GS12. Okay, so let's do the calculation. 101,000 times 25 times 1% is $25,250, which is about $2,100 a month. How is this possible? Well, if your organization experiences a reduction in force, which is called a RIF or a reorganization where you are laid off, you have the option a lot of times to take an early retirement. And if this happens, there's actually two options. The first one is you can retire at 50 years old with 20 years of government service, or you can be any age as long as you have 25 years of government service. This means if you start working for the government at 18 years old, you can actually retire as early as 43 years old. Also, this does not include Social Security payments, which could begin at the age of 62 if you decide to take it. One of the most important things that I want to convey to you is if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, it is not too late to get a federal pension. Now, if you're watching this and you love the idea of a federal pension, but you do not love the idea of a government job, that's okay, because there are other employers that offer pensions. And if you want to know the top 5 employers that offer pensions today, then I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.